Do you like being food for the immortal?
Hello and welcome to I've Seen Everything, where the name is ironic and the reactions are...
Don't be frightened.
Hi everyone, my name's Andrew and welcome to yet another movie reaction out here on the ISE channel, and today we have somewhat of a special one, somewhat of a timely one, or one that's past due, I'm not sure. Today we're here to watch the 1994 film Interview with the Vampire. For many people, including me, this was an introduction to this world, an introduction to these stories. Many of us watched this movie before we even knew who Anne Rice was, before we read any of the books, before we knew anything else going on. This has been a favorite movie of mine for a long time. I definitely remember seeing this movie more than once in the theater and walking home at night on my own down dark alleys, which was an interesting thing to do as a teenager after watching this movie. This is a movie that I've always enjoyed and expect to enjoy again watching here with you today, for the first time likely in a few years. This is, however, also the first place I ever saw Antonio Banderas, even though I did not know who he was when I saw him in this movie. It will also come as no surprise, this is the first place I ever saw Kirsten Dunst, considering the fact that she was so young when she did this movie, and she did a fantastic job. I think she was amazing in this movie, especially for a child actor. But the thing I remember most about this movie when I first saw it was it just being so much different a feel to a vampire movie than anything I had seen previously. We were not following a human protagonist fighting vampires. We were following the vampires, and we're following them in a historical drama kind of way that takes them through centuries and shows us these parts of their lives. And so in some ways it almost kind of read as a historical piece, and what it's like to be a vampire for, I don't know what it was, maybe 200 years? So let's not waste any more time talking about the movie, let's get to watching the movie, but before we do, I want to be sure to invite you to check out the Patreon. The full-length reaction to this movie is available over on the Patreon right now. There's full-length reactions to other movies, exclusive television shows, including we are currently watching Season 3 of Interview with the Vampire Lestat. I hope you'll go check out the Patreon and consider becoming a patron. Any support that you offer over there or over here is always greatly appreciated, and speaking of over here, if you'd be so kind as to go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button, click the bell so you can see when I'm putting out new videos. And that is it, folks. Let's not waste another moment. Let us get to watching 1994's Interview with the Vampire. Here we go. Love this soundtrack. Honestly, love this soundtrack, and I love the Queen of the Damned soundtrack and score. Did it say screenplay? Oh, Anne Rice actually wrote the screenplay to this. I didn't know that. Crazy. I feel like there's some authors who do that. They actually want to write the screenplay themselves, or at least are involved in the writing of the screenplay.
So you want me to tell you the story of my life?
Like I said, that's what I do. So, what do?
I'm a vampire.
That is a way to just kind of drop it on somebody. You don't really expect a vampire to just tell you they're a vampire.
You really believe this, don't you?
We can't begin this way.
Yeah, he doesn't just believe it. He's about to show you.
I thought vampires didn't like the light.
I only wanted to prepare you.
Christ!
Don't be frightened.
I actually really like this opening. This is kind of a deconstruction of what people thought about vampires at the time. A lot of it is. But even just like the little veins, and the pale skin, and the contacts.
I'm flesh and blood, but not human. I haven't been human for 200 years.
You're not lying to me, are you?
Why should I lie?
Why should he lie? Let's talk about when he was born to darkness, as it was. If you're go around interviewing people, you keep looking in dark shadows, you're going to find some crazy things eventually.
1791 was the year it happened. I was 24, and I was a man at that age, the master of a large plantation just south of New Orleans. I had lost my wife in childbirth.
Wow. He was barely in his 20s and considered a man back then. Had already had a wife and child who had died and was a wealthy landowner. I mean, obviously, he didn't earn all of that. It was left to him by his family.
How many are in the deck? Are you calling me a cheat?
I always remember this scene. This is a performance that sticks with you, or a moment that does.
You lack the courage of your convictions, sir. Do it.
You lack the courage of your convictions, sir. Do it. Somebody who really doesn't care whether they live or die. And we see Lestat for the first time. He stands out among the other people, even just in the way he moves.
My invitation was open to anyone, but it was a vampire that accepted.
That was a good reveal, because you knew he was up on the balcony, and all of a sudden he's just calmly watching him walk by.
Give me your money or you die.
I mean, didn't you see what happened back in the tavern? I don't think he's going to give you his money. I mean, I've watched a lot of vampire movies. You don't see a lot of vampires who fly while they feed. You know, it feels like showing off a little bit.
Do you still want death? Or have you tasted it enough?
I wonder if he would have truly left him like that if he hadn't. I'm sure at this point he already intends to turn him. But if he was just being fed on, I doubt he would have left him.
I've come to answer your prayers. Life has no meaning anymore, does it? But what if I could give it back to you? Pluck out the pain and give you another life.
His sales pitch sounds like a lot of real-world things that prey on grief and depression and feeling isolated. It's amazing how many predatory things find people in this position to prey on.
Don't be afraid. I'm going to give you the choice I never had.
The choice he never had. I do wonder, and you might know as we're watching this, do we see this in the show? Well, when Lestat is turned and he was given a choice.
I saw my last sunrise. I remember it completely. I watched the whole magnificence of the dawn for the last time as if it were the first.
Wow. That's pretty amazing to watch your last sunrise knowing it's your last sunrise. Imagine trying to process that mentally. I'm never going to see the sun again, ever.
Have you said your goodbyes to the light?
I mean, not a lot of wasting of time. One line and he's right in, without Louis even seeing him coming. They do keep it that horror movie feel by having the kind of jump scares like that.
I've trained you to the point of death. If I leave you here, you die. Or you can be young always, my friend, as we are now.
It's surprising to me the idea that Louis, in his grief at this point, would think someone like Lestat could give him actual meaning back to his life, that he would believe it.
Everybody's dying. Pay no attention. Happens to us all.
I remember this being such a visceral scene when I first watched it. The heartbeat in the background does a lot of, the slowing heartbeat in the background does a lot of work there. I guess I never paid attention to that effect. Like, you see him turn into a vampire, but like the blood disappearing from his face.
What did you see?
No words can describe it. Might as well ask heaven what it sees. I was a newborn vampire weeping at the beauty of the night.
I mean, they do really have to sell this part about this being the delivery on Lestat's promise of the world feeling anew and feeling like there's new possibility and new meaning out there.
Once you taste this, you'll never go to another tavern again.
You think so, Shaggy? But what if I'd rather taste your lips?
There's an entire element missing to Louis and Lestat's relationship in this version, where it's truly a love story. Well, a toxic, violent love story. Imagine if they had had the guts to tell a story like that in 1994 with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise.
My friend should taste those lips.
Is his kiss as deep as yours?
Yeah, gee, I wonder why this felt so much different than other vampire stories. I don't know other vampire stories before this. There might have been some, tell me in the comments, that saw the drinking of the blood almost like a sexual act.
I will not take her life. I've done it for you. She's dead as a doornail, my friend.
I will say, though, this is also one of the first places I ever saw this kind of distinction about people that they feed on just for blood versus turning people. I think all the other vampire stories I had seen before, just by getting bitten, they could turn into vampires.
Can't you pretend, you fool? Don't give the game away. We're lucky to have such a home.
He says they're lucky to have such a home. It seems like Lestat's not living very well if that's what he's relying on when he turned Louis. Like, where was he living before? Vampires are not usually that hard up for money.
Live like this? The blood of animals?
Useful trick if you're caught for a month on a ship at sea.
As we saw in Dracula. He's living off crew members too, but he's living off rats as well.
Widow St. Clair murder her husband. Read her thoughts.
I can't.
The dark gift is different for each of us.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest differences between the two of them. And also, I don't think Louis can fly. Lestat obviously has some abilities.
Evildoers are easier, and they taste better.
Enchanté, monsieur.
Lestat, trying to train Louis to kill without remorse, purposely tries to give him somebody that he feels is morally reprehensible so that he would likely have a much easier time killing.
That's the melody.
I mean, honestly, as a dog lover here, I have to say, the dogs were a little annoying, but they didn't do anything wrong. That's sad. But we are drinking blood here, so.
Condemn me to hell!
I don't know any hell.
Oh, that's more like it.
I mean, there is something different about having a fight when you can't actually do damage to each other, at least not in the more traditional ways. He's not going to beat him to death. A child getting out his frustration.
Feed on what you will. Rats, chickens, poodles. I'll leave you to it and watch you come around.
I'm actually surprised they didn't attract some attention doing that. All the people are just over there still minding their own business. They're screaming and, killing people and slamming each other into trees. So, Lestat has been feeding on the enslaved people on Louis's plantation, and they think it's evil spirits and trying to ward them off, presumably.
The one who made me.
You must have learned something from him.
I learned absolutely nothing.
But you must know something about the meaning of it all.
Why should I know these things? Do you know them?
If there's a consistent detail among Lestat's history, it is the not knowing. Not necessarily the not knowing, but not having a choice. Queen of the Damned is a little different. But the book, he truly learns nothing from the one that created him.
Come to New Orleans, then. The Paris Opera's in town. We can try some French cuisine.
Forgive me if I have a lingering respect for life.
Yeah, Louis hasn't even been a vampire that long, and it feels like he's already regretting it. He's already seeing the downside to the whole thing, obviously. No sunlight, you're not really part of humanity anymore. And the constant need to kill something.
We're worried about you, Master. When is it that you go riding in the field?
Man, she is so young here. This has to be one of her really early roles.
It will be all of it.
I will not go unless you listen to me.
Yvette, please go, because he's not going to be able to control himself. Yeah, he couldn't hold back anymore.
This place is cursed, damned, and yes, your master is the devil. Get out while you can. You are all free men. Save yourself!
I mean, maybe they want to make sure that he and the place are destroyed, or I'm not sure what they're trying to do, but they didn't seem scared enough to actually run.
Yeah! Perfect! Perfect! Just burn the place! Burn everything we own!
I never picked that up before. That's funny. This big dramatic moment, Louis burning everything down, telling them to run for their lives. And Lestat bursts into a burning house and is just annoyed. Apparently Lestat knows what it's like to be a poor vampire.
Where are we?
What do you think? We're in a nice, filthy cemetery. Is this fitting?
We belong in hell.
What if there is no hell, but they don't want us there?
But if there is no hell, or they don't want us there. That's the thing. Again, this is released in a time of still decently more religious than it is now. And so the very Christian ideology behind all of this.
Your friend has no head for wine.
I can warm that cold skin of yours better than she can.
Do you think so?
Especially in comparison to the television show, more modern telling of this, it is far less bloody somehow than that telling of this story. Even maybe less bloody than the Queen of the Damned movie they made. And yeah, this I feel was probably one of the first, at least in this way, to make the drinking of the blood as sexual in nature as it is.
Should we put out the light? And then put out the light.
See, the feeling didn't get to her. It's only when she actually saw the blood that she started to flip out.
For you, Louis. You can pretend it's wine.
Lestat has so much anger and has become so detached from anything that could even be recognized as human that he kind of revels in his cruelty, at least in this moment. Like, they are just food to him. They're just food and entertainment to him.
She's not dead.
You're in love with your mortal nature. It was just the one thing that could bring you peace.
You peace.
Take her, Louis, end that hunger!
No.
It's something I'm noticing a little more in this portrayal is Brad Pitt's voice. You call this peace? Your master is the devil. Very kind of action movie, a little bit.
It's a coven! A coven! Let me out!
It's your
coffin, my love. Enjoy it.
It is amazing how a coffin can just look like a coffee table, basically, when you put a tablecloth over it.
Why do you do this?
I enjoy it.
Kill them swiftly if you will. But do it, for do not doubt, you are a killer, Louis.
You got to give Tom Cruise credit for one thing. He commits, for sure. He was putting all kinds of energy into that. And those, I remember, that was like the trailer shot.
You finish this now. You finish it.
Save me!
Take her, Louis. End her suffering and yours.
Like in this current setup, Lestat is the villain. I wouldn't say Louis is a hero, but he's at least hesitant to actually kill people. It's that moment of the villain being, you're just like me, join me. But in this case, he kind of is. He's become a vampire. If he can't face what he is, he kind of has to, sit in the sun one morning or something.
Thank you for all I have to learn from.
The old world, Louis. They called it the dark gift. But I gave it to you.
Not that Lestat sat there and explained to Louis all the gruesome details of what it would be. You're going to have to continuously kill and feed on people to live. Might have had second thoughts then.
Don't go that way, monsieur. It's the plague. Go back the way you came.
The way I came.
The one person, or one of the few people that doesn't have to worry about the plague. This was different too. The plague as opposed to a fire. It's a very sad scene. Likely came home and found her mother sitting there like that. Poor people trying to live. Imagine trying to live through something like that. An actual plague.
Please wake Mama, monsieur.
Can't restrain himself any further. And he's like, well, Lestat's not here. Like, he doesn't want to do it in front of Lestat because of all the things that have happened. But I don't think he had any designs on making her a vampire.
My martyr never take you in my... This calls for a celebration.
See, he makes a mockery of all of it. Blasphemous, all these kinds of things. The human tragedy of the moment is worthless to him. Anyway, it's all just a game.
Her blood coursed through my veins, sweeter than life itself. And as it did, Lestat's words made sense to me. I knew peace only when I killed.
That's actually an interesting question. And help me in the comments. How many movies do we have with reluctant vampires? Vampires who, for one reason or another, are reluctant to actually take human life or drink human blood.
And do what it is in your nature to do. And you will feel as you felt with that child in your arms. God kills indiscriminately, and so shall we.
It is hard to agree with Lestat because he sees himself, he just even said, he's basically like, we're gods, at least compared to the humans. But Louis is in this position of he either needs to accept, unfortunately, who he is as a vampire or find a way to end his life. It's just not really another way to go.
You remember how you wanted her.
I thought I'd killed her.
Your conscience is clear.
It's also interesting considering this isn't a love story because this is a toxic thing you do in a relationship when things are difficult, is you add a child to the mix. Not a good choice.
Claudia, I'm going to give you what you need to get well.
No.
You want her to die then?
This is the thing though too. Lestat is breaking a vampire law here to trap Louis, basically, to bind him to this situation tighter.
Enough!
It does make sense that you wouldn't want people making children into vampires if it prevents them from ever being able to fully realize the abilities of that state. They can never grow past being a child. They can never turn other people.
I want some more.
Of course, you want more.
Oh, quel bel enfant.
What did he... Okay, I was about to say, what did he do? He grabbed her by the neck, and it seemed like she died immediately. Like, as he was bringing her head down, her eyes were not blinking. How did he kill her instantly like that?
Yes. All right now. Stop.
They tried to make it as innocent as possible, like a child drinking from a bottle or something. A baby.
He did it to make you stay with him.
Perhaps. He knew me. He knew I would love her more than the waking world.
Yeah, it gave Louis a connection. It gave him something that gave meaning to his life, or felt like it gave meaning to his life, to have a daughter.
I need more light. I shall go blind if you do not bring
me another lamp. Or let me fit this child during the day.
If you did it during the day, you'd certainly have plenty of light, but that'd be because your subject would be in flames, which could be problematic for a variety of reasons.
Let me kiss her better.
Claudia! Claudia!
Let me kiss it better. A young Kirsten Dunst playing a vicious killer vampire in the body of a child. A very interesting role for someone her age.
She slept in my coffin at first, till the day came when she wanted one of her own. But still, whenever she awoke, she would crawl into mine.
Especially when we get to the years where she's basically older, where she's basically been alive for a very long time and is definitely an adult, but still trapped in a child's body. And she has to speak that way. Those are, I think, are the most impressive scenes with her.
Mazathum, girl. Mazathum. That little digit.
Yeah, I mean, probably not the best way to teach somebody how to play piano, but also, if your student's a vampire, might want to know that before you start hitting them with things.
They're expensive, my dear. Maybe too expensive for a young girl like you.
How about these fangs? What can I afford with these fangs? Oh, anything in the store? Okay. That was great timing. She timed exactly when he was going to fall on the piano. She's been practicing.
The years flew by like minutes. The city round us grew.
I always remember that line, the years flew by like minutes. I always liked the feel of that. It was a good way to put it. Still in New Orleans, I think, though, after all this time. They're well into the 1800s now. They have to be.
Don't you want her?
I want to be her.
You grow more like Louis every day. Soon you'll be eating rats.
This way, it actually kind of plays interestingly in that it's the ultimate selfish act. Lestat doesn't care. She's entertainment for him. She's only valuable as long as he finds her useful or amusing, and as long as she keeps Louis happy. He doesn't care what he's done to her.
Why always on this night? You always give me a doll on the same night as the year.
I didn't realize.
Here we're crossing into where she's more an adult, not speaking like a young child anymore, for sure.
Some of these, Claudia. You should throw them away.
I will then.
That is quite a thing to hide under all the dolls under your bed, or on your bed. Feels like that would be pretty noticeable pretty quickly.
Do you want me to be a doll forever?
Claudia, don't.
Why not? Can't I change like everybody else?
This is where I remember starting to be impressed with this child actor. She did a good job in these scenes. To find out this way that she's trapped in this form forever.
Which one of you did it? Which one of you made me the way I am?
What you are? A vampire gone insane.
And to be this young acting against someone like Tom Cruise, too, in these scenes. She did a really good job. Wow, that is some 90s healing for you.
You see the old woman? That will never happen to you. You will never grow old, and you will never die.
Yeah, Lestat did it because he didn't care. He just did it completely callously. He doesn't care. She knows in her heart that Louis, at least in some capacity, cares for her, even if he's partly to blame.
Yet I found my way back there, with hardly an upward glance.
There's some good lines like that. They avoided that place but found his way back there with hardly an upward glance. Those are lines that have come back to me at different times from this movie in particular.
You fed on me.
Yes.
She didn't remember, and now being back there, that memory starts to come back to her.
And he found me with you. And he cut his wrist, and he fed you from him. And you were a vampire then, and have been every night thereafter.
You both did it.
He lived with the guilt of this all this time and tried to make up for it by loving her and caring for her in the way that her family would have, or he imagines her family would have. Also filling the void to some degree of the family he lost.
But I can't hate you, Louis. I was mortal to you. You gave me your immortal kiss, and so I'm yours forever.
See, this is the thing. It would be easy to think that she's just using him because of what she wants to do, but she seems to have genuine affection for him too, once she was no longer angry.
But now it's time to end it. Now it's time to leave him.
You will never let us go.
Oh, really?
Oh, that was good. I forgot about that. She has more courage than he does, and she's more vicious than he is. See, she pulls some of these scenes off so well.
What is it now? Irritating. You were very
irritates me.
Does it?
She knows that Lestat doesn't actually care for her and that she's an annoyance and that he did what he did cruelly and didn't care. She knows that Louis's not like that at the very least, that he does genuinely care for her.
You need a brother. Weary of you both.
Oh, great. Yeah. Create another child vampire. Smart, Lestat. Brilliant.
But you upset my plans. I came to make peace with you, even though you're the father of lies.
I came to make peace with you right after I insult you, call you the father of lies.
I've brought a present for you.
And I hope it's a beautiful woman with endowments you'll never possess.
Wow, what a horrible person when he knows that's her one weak point. Gee, can't imagine why we think Lestat's a terrible... I mean, even in the scope of vampires, it's just a terrible person.
Don't be angry with me. When I saw them, I knew they were for you. Drunk on brandy wine, a thimbleful.
I mean, it is a pretty brilliant trap on her part, especially to put on such an act to evade his suspicion.
We forgive each other then?
Yes.
See, he doesn't really have a relationship with her either. He doesn't even understand the emotional damage he does. He's basically a narcissist.
You've given them absent.
Laudanum.
Laudanum. I didn't remember what it was that she used.
I killed them, unfortunately. But it keeps the blood warm.
You let me drink dead blood?
That's pretty brilliant. She knew she had to weaken him in order to do this. Wow, this scene.
Put me in my coffin. Put me in my coffin.
I'll put you in your coffin!
Wow.
My God.
This is a no-holds-barred horror moment, and she's at the center of it. I keep just being impressed by her doing this as a child actor.
Good night, sweet prince. May flights of devils bring you to your rest. Should we burn him? Bury him? What would he have liked, Louis? The swamp.
Even Louis is disgusted and just taken aback by her cruelty and the grotesque nature of what she's willing to do.
You missed him? He was all I knew. It's as simple as that.
Look who we forgot.
Let's set them free.
Yes.
Yes.
I always like that with the birds. It's supposed to be this symbolic thing of like them. They think of vampires killing things so much. Like, oh, we're going to set this life free and let it go. Yeah, Lestat, not quite as gone as you might have hoped. I told you, those crocodiles were going to bring him back to life. Not the kind of blood he would prefer, but...
Ask the alligator. His blood helped. Claudia, you've been a very naughty little girl.
Yeah, just the madness of slowly having to crawl your way back to existence from death. Before they were even able to leave for Europe, he came back, looking to seek his revenge. I mean, I don't know if feeling bad for Lestat is what I would say, but let's just say Lestat has certainly been through it. Had his throat cut and left for dead in a swamp, slowly worked his way back to life. I mean, came to find revenge, but now set on fire. Wow. On fire, crawling onto the ceiling.
The ship is sailing without us!
I mean, they really got on there last second. How was it? I mean, I guess they got delayed by a Lestat. I was going to say, how was it the ship was leaving without them? Wow. Set the whole town on fire, basically.
I stood on that deck, fearful he would come out again. You gave me the dark gift, and I delivered you into the hands of death for the second time.
There's so many comparisons, direct comparisons to toxic relationships of real life. And so it was like victims trying to find their escape and only thinking they could do that by basically destroying their captor or their abuser.
I began to believe we were the only ones. There was a strange comfort in that thought. For what could the damned really have to say to the damned?
You said you found nothing?
Yeah. And that idea of just looking for others like you, people that could make you feel understood, or are you truly all alone in the world as this thing that you are? They do seem to find a lot of comfort and at least familial kind of love in each other.
We were alive again, just the two of us. And so euphoric was I that I yielded to her every desire.
She seems even less ferocious herself. It doesn't seem as much like any human that's around her is at risk of being just killed because she can't control herself. I have to imagine, if I'm remembering correctly, that his ability to do this has to come from the idea that he can read Louis's thoughts. I mean, maybe it's supposed to be something that comes with age, but Louis seems to be the only one who has this thing where he doesn't know how to defy gravity. But let's also not ignore that Santiago's cape was defying gravity there too.
Buffoon!
Santiago.
First time I ever saw Antonio Banderas, not having any clue who he was. I wonder how long he'd been doing American movies by this point.
No one will harm you. I won't allow it. And remember my name, Armand.
Again, it's not even to say that Antonio Banderas doesn't make an interesting Armand. We just don't get very long with him. We don't really get to know the character.
Until they find themselves within my reach.
The character of Santiago always being the kind of ringleader of the stage show.
Vampires who pretend to be humans pretending to be vampires.
Avant-garde.
This was interesting, making their vampirism part of the show. People thinking they're just humans playing vampires.
The lesson endeth here. Each one of you my clammy hands must touch. Each one must bend his forehead to my kiss.
And the bold nature of the idea that you would actually sacrifice a real human on stage, and everybody would think it's just part of the show. Oh my God, that was so realistic. Can you believe that?
In bloom, a shrinking violet.
But also agonizing and terrifying for this woman.
But death we are, and death we've always been.
Someone help me! What have I done?
We all die.
They take Lestat's kind of perspective on being a vampire and drinking blood and his victims and all that stuff, where for him it's a game. He takes joy in the cruelty, where they believe they're making it into art.
Oh yes, Monsieur Vampire, take me! I adore you!
You wait your tongue.
I mean, the idea that they could have willing victims from the crowd who would learn all too late what was actually happening.
You know what it means to be loved by death?
That was also always a powerful line. Do you know what it means to be loved by death?
No pain.
And also this idea that the kind of sexual nature of these encounters, his influence could be enough to get her to submit to what's going to happen to her. Not even that she's going to be turned, but that she's going to just be food for them, essentially. Again, it is pretty brilliant camouflage.
What are we?
Nothing, if not vampires.
Who made us what we are? The source. All this evil.
Might not want to walk in with the idea that vampirism is evil to a group of vampires. They likely do not share your perspective on that.
God does not exist.
I know nothing of God or the devil. I have never seen a vision nor learned a secret that would damn or save my soul.
It's one of the truly terrifying things, especially for somebody coming from a place of faith, I'm sure, is the idea that there may be nothing. There may be no answer to what you're looking for. This may be all there is, without explanation.
And it's as I always feared.
You fear too much. So much you make me fear.
It feels like the thing that attracts people to Louis is how much Louis feels, his connection to emotion. For vampires who, it seems, have lost the ability to feel much, they look to feel through another.
How did you wrong him? There is but one crime among us vampires. Kill your own kind.
Does he know in that moment that they killed him? You just wanted him to admit it, or do they not know that yet?
Without saying a word, let me go, he said. Is that what I should do, Louis? My father, my Louis, who made me.
This is another thing, too, that is different in this version of the story, and I can't remember if it's in the book or not. Vampires not necessarily having a psychic link to those who made them, or the vampire who made them.
She's in danger, isn't she?
It's forbidden to make one so young.
Then blame the one who made her.
Did you kill this vampire who made you both? Is that why you won't say his name? Santiago thinks you did.
Yeah, they kept that part in place. I didn't remember that they had this confrontation where Armand confirms that Santiago believes they killed Lestat.
So soon, without any of those answers you so longed for. You said there were none, but you asked the wrong questions.
And Armand doesn't care about anything except he wants Louis. He's done with the theater and he wants Louis.
I need you to make contact with this age. I'm at odds with everything. I always have been. That is the very spirit of your age.
I wonder how many times you see this throughout these stories. Older vampires making these appeals to younger vampires. I'm too old to have any connection to the world any longer. I need you to help me to understand this world and to reconnect to it once again.
You are beautiful, my friend.
So his interest in Louis is purely selfish as well. Not that he actually cares for Louis. He doesn't really have the ability to care for anything, probably.
Lestat must have wept when he made you.
Lestat?
Yes, I knew him.
Oh, I didn't remember that part. They actually did know Lestat. But I don't think they necessarily elaborate on what, like further than that. I don't think they elaborate on what the relationship was.
Madeleine. Louis is shy.
Quite a scene to walk into. Feels a bit like an ambush. This would be an interesting dynamic as far as a pairing between the two of them.
You have found your new companion, Louis. You will make me mine.
How do we seem to you? Do you find us beautiful? Drink, you ask me. Do you have any idea of the thing you will become?
Claudia was probably turned before this woman was born. Louis at least is trying to give her some sense of what she's asking to have done here, where Lestat did not.
Do this before you leave me. I love you still. That's the torment of it. Who will care for me, my love?
It's amazing to me that he wants so badly to go with Armand. Maybe he feels something lacking, but he has to know Armand doesn't actually care for him.
Child who cannot die.
Child who did die.
My daughter.
I forgot about that part. Louis can sympathize with that to some degree, having lost a child himself, and that was part of what Claudia fulfilled for him.
What's happening to her?
She's dying. It happened to you too.
It's an interesting concept, this idea that you have to die as a human to be reborn as a vampire. You don't just transform, you die and are resurrected, essentially.
It's time for justice, little one!
And also, this was a short-lived future for Claudia.
Get me Armand.
Death for the others. For you, eternity in a box.
Take him!
Yeah, with one shot, they show he made a deal with them, essentially. Said they could have Claudia and this other woman that they made into a vampire, but Louis was not to be killed. I've watched this scene multiple times, wondering if there was some way they could have saved themselves. I suppose not. The only thing was under their clothing, maybe, but sunlight still probably would have bled through. Yeah, where was this energy before, Armand? You sat there and willingly let them die. You know you did. He allows Claudia and this woman to die, so Louis' ties to anyone else are gone.
Where's Claudia? I can't save her! Louis, don't!
So it is a deal then, because they aren't doing anything about him being released when they know it's too late. I wonder what they thought, though. Did they think he just wouldn't do anything? Did they think there would be no response to this? Maybe they felt there were so many of them, what could he do? So long since they've been human, maybe they can no longer imagine what it even felt like to care for someone. That's considered a human emotion. Yeah, Santiago very unapologetic. To be fair, though, if they are able to read thoughts, there is an argument for not killing Louis. He didn't actually kill Lestat.
So a vampire can cry. Once. Maybe twice in his own eternity.
The only thing that still pulls at his heart is the loss of Claudia. But also that woman, I mean, she was created by them, but she didn't do anything wrong. Looking for too much logic, I suppose. I was pretty young when I first saw this. I don't think for a long time that I realized exactly what he was pouring all over the place, but it was wine, I imagine. It's the only thing it could be. I mean, that's quite a strategy. Light all the caskets on fire and then just be ready with a scythe. Ooh. Yep, he's ready to go to work. Make sure nobody gets out alive. His wrath is brutal and complete. They had to know there would be a response. I just don't think they counted on it being this brutal. Not the greatest fighter, Santiago. I bid you good day. Here's your scythe and your burning theater. Poor planning on Louis's part. I mean, he kind of had to do it during the day, so they would all be in their coffins.
Louis!
Yeah, Armand really has a knack for showing up just at the right moment, doesn't he? Just after the person has done the thing he wanted them to do.
You didn't even warn them, did you?
No.
And you knew what I would do?
I knew. I rescued you, didn't I?
For someone so old and supposedly wise, it's such a simplistic thought process that he just thinks they'll go on and live together now and everything will be fine.
Then what a pair we could make. But what if it's a lesson I don't care to learn? What if all I have is my suffering, my regret?
Yeah, apparently the last breath of his humanity has not gone. His grief remains.
So you can have that too. The heart that mourns her, that you burnt to a cinder. You feels nothing. If that's all I have left to learn, I can do that on my own.
Wow. Now that was a powerful moment. Armand has gone through this whole plan, didn't expect that Louis might not want to be part of this after he realizes what he had to do with Claudia. Also, if the only thing you're selling is the idea that I can teach you how to not feel things, I don't know why that would be appealing. The whole reason you want Louis is his ability to feel things, because you no longer can.
A mechanical wonder allowed me to see the sun rise for the first time in 200 years.
Yeah. We moved through the 20th century quickly, just in the progression of film technology. They just moved through 50 years at least, 55.
In the spring of 1988, I returned to New Orleans, and as soon as I smelled the air, I knew I was home. And then on Britannia Street, I caught the scent of death. The scent grew stronger as I walked.
Yeah, Lestat was essentially tabled for the second half of this movie, and we only get a glimpse here in the 80s, likely a decade before this movie came out, that perhaps he survived the fire. Remember Lestat saying, all I have to do to find you is follow the corpses of rats. And that's what Louis finds at his door.
Louis, I'm so glad you were here. She never should have been one of...
It's all past, Lestat.
Oh, is Lestat able to feel Claudia's demise, since she was created from him? Does he already know?
Still beautiful, Louis.
Enough years would have passed. I would have expected Lestat to have fully recovered by now. I wonder why he hadn't. It's been likely 100 years since they've seen each other.
You've come home to me then?
Not that either, I don't think.
And that noise!
It's false, love. It can't harm you.
If you stayed with me, I could venture out again. Become the old Lestat.
I mean, Louis is setting boundaries for toxic relationships. You and he were not good for each other, Lestat. So, sorry, but he's found at least some peace in his life. He doesn't necessarily want the old Lestat. So, again, why you have not been able to venture out more, who can say, or what the future may hold.
Whatever happened to Lestat, I do not know. I go on, night after night.
But Louis also now finds himself in this place where he doesn't really have a purpose anymore.
Detached, unchangeable, empty.
See, even his description of himself, sharing his story is like one of the last things he's able to do.
No, it can't end like that. There's no more to tell. There has to be more to tell.
I mean, a human understanding the indignity of misunderstanding centuries of a vampire's life.
I mean, take me. That's what I want. I want what you have. I refuse to let it end like this.
Do you like being food for the immortals? Do you like dying?
He wasn't really paying attention through all of the pain and solitude and the having to kill humans constantly. And it just seemed like he was kind of romanticized by the power and not the pretty drastic drawbacks of eternity that ultimately ends up with you alone. And the frustration of Louis sitting there and laying all of that out only to not have that understood. You can understand him scaring him away.
I had lost my wife and child.
Somebody changed my shorts.
She and the infant.
Again, the kind of short-term allure of the power as opposed to the long-term drawbacks.
I assume I need no introduction.
So that's my question. How did Lestat come into the picture? Maybe he's been shadowing Louis ever since Louis came to visit him?
Oh, Louis, have you heard enough? I've had to listen to that for centuries. Don't be afraid. I'm going to give you the choice I never had.
Wow. That blood did him good very quickly. He still looked kind of grotesque and like he wasn't fully himself when we first saw him pop out of the back seat. And now all of a sudden he looks like he's the old Lestat again. And Lestat turns Malloy as they drive off to Sympathy for the Devil, as covered by Guns N' Roses. Let us go to the wrap-up, shall we? Well, there you have it, folks. Interview with the Vampire. What can you say? Brief as it may be, imperfect as it may be, especially in the greater scope of Anne Rice's work. But again, for many of us, an introduction to that work. Obviously, these books were around, I don't know if I want to say long before. Let's see, 76 it says. So these books were around for almost 20 years before this movie came out. And I'm sure were known and loved by a certain devout group of fans, but this movie certainly set fire to the franchise again, or the book series again, and brought in an entire new crop of fans. It's similar, but on a much smaller scale, to like what I've heard from Lord of the Rings fans. I mean, obviously that fandom is far bigger, but those books have been around for a long time. They are much beloved by the people who grew up reading them and loving that universe of stories. But then the movies come out in the early 2000s, and it's an entire... First of all, there's so many people who were already fans of Lord of the Rings who loved the movies, but then it also kind of reignited the fandom too, that for a lot of people that was their entry point, and they found their way in and then went back and read the books. The Vampire Chronicles are a series of books that I have intended to read for a long time, and I've never really made my way all the way through it, or anywhere close to all the way through it. I basically, the furthest I got was at one point, I had already read the first book. I went back and reread it again, and then got about halfway through The Vampire Lestat, and then fell off again. And that now has even been years ago. So if I was going to go pick back up, I don't know if I would read the first book again, but I would at least probably start over reading The Vampire Lestat at the beginning again. But that said, I have all of the audiobooks. Like I forget what the last one was. Something about Atlantis or something like that. But I think I have basically all of the audiobooks for the Vampire Chronicles. But need to get around to actually reading / listening to them at some point here. Oh no, they went on to another one, Blood Communion, A Tale of Prince Lestat. Came out in 2018. Prince Lestat and the Realms of Atlantis was the last one that I had. So it seems like the last 3 books are really focused on this Prince Lestat idea, whatever that means. But yeah, 13 books. I have a decent way to work my way through those if I ever make it to it. But again, as I said in the beginning, for those of us who enjoy horror movies and enjoy vampire movies in particular, and especially leading up to this, again, please correct me in the comments, but I don't know of any other vampire movie before 94 that kind of told a vampire story this way, that kind of led through a vampire's life with them as the protagonist, and like, this is what it's been like to be a vampire through all these different ages, through these different times in history. This is what it's been like to go from being a newborn vampire to being a vampire who's been in this state, been in this vampiric state for over 200 years, and most of the journey that connects those 2 points. Kind of like a biography of a vampire, basically. I mean, they're interviewing him about his life, so what else would it be? But I feel like it was just a very interesting angle to take on a vampire story, especially for people whose primary connection or experience with vampires has been through movies. Again, before that, it was easy just to have them be a horror movie villain, and there's still so many times that they've just been basically horror movie villains. I find it interesting when people find different ways to look at stories like that or tell stories like that. Another one, I mean, I don't think this movie gets a lot of attention, and I'm not saying it as far as the writing and production, it's the greatest movie ever, but conceptually, it's one of my favorite vampire movies, called Daybreakers, for people who haven't watched it. Ethan Hawke and Sam Neill, like a fair number of other people, I think, but a world that basically has been taken over by vampires, where essentially almost everyone has become a vampire. What would that look like? What would that logistically look like? What would need to happen for a world like that to even still be able to function? And where could a story within that world go? Very interesting concept as far as a vampire movie if you haven't seen it. But yeah, things that are not just, oh, this thing is in the shadows, be afraid, and then we'll find a way to kill it, and then, you know, end of movie. Something a little more complex than that, something that looks at these types of characters in a bit more detail than that. Even the Dracula stories that go more into the kind of depth and breadth of the story of that character and who he was even before he was a vampire and all of these things, how he became a vampire. There's a lot more interesting depth to go into than just something scary hiding in the shadows. So for that reason, I've always enjoyed this movie. They had a lot of ground to try to cover in 2 hours. I still think they did a fair job in that. I still now am, like, again, this is the first time I've watched this since watching the show, am very partial to the show. Just because they have so much time to go in so much more depth, they did advance the storyline some. I think we begin in the 1800s as opposed to 1700s, and they changed certain other key details about the story. But they go into far more depth. We have far more Lestat. It's far more kind of brutal and, you know, not sanitized in some of the ways that this is, and just more visceral and more emotionally connected. And just I love some of the depth that they've gone into with the characters and forming them and the relationships. So if you haven't watched the show, I can't recommend it strongly enough. And as I said, as you'll be watching this, we're already in season 3 of Interview with the Vampire, the show, which has been retitled The Vampire Lestat for this season. So seasons 1 and 2 should be out here on the Patreon as you're watching this. Hopefully season 2 certainly is. I'm hoping to go back and do a rewatch of season 1. Even if that's not done yet, there's a recap up as well. But hopefully all season 1's out and ready to be watched if you want to watch that. But I should be watching season 3 as you see this. Again, entitled The Vampire Lestat. So check that out if you're interested. But that's all I have for this one. One more time before we get out of here, folks, I want to be sure to remind you to check out the Patreon. The full-length reaction to this movie is available over on the Patreon right now. There's other full-length movie reactions over there, exclusive television show reactions, including reactions to the Interview with the Vampire television show, season 3 airing right now. Be sure to go over there and check it out and consider becoming a patron. Any support that you offer over there or over here is always greatly appreciated. And speaking of over here, if you'd be so kind as to go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button, click the bell so you can see when I'm putting out new videos. And a special thank you to my Seen Everything patrons, Aunt Vess and Stevie. Thank you so much for your support. And that is it, folks. Thanks for being here to watch this one with me, and I will see you next week for The Queen of the Damned. Take care.